a game we had. There was highlights, there was heartbreaks, there was all sorts of crazy moments, and it all ended up in an overtime victory for these men right here on screen, the Frenchmen of EnVy.
Yeah, we honestly thought it'd be easier, but at the same time, it honestly seemed like Godsent was just going to win. So, yeah, fantastic stuff.
I mean, we had a very kind of lopsided affair in terms of like the sprees of victory. If you guys didn't catch it, there was lots of runs with multiple rounds back and forth. But in the end, that's of course how it ended, with EnVy on the W. And now we're going to have EnVy on their map pick.
Yeah.
We have transitioned from Cache to Cobble. Do you think this makes much of a change-up between these two teams?
I don't know. I think if anything, well, again, their map pick, I feel like they're going to be even more comfortable here. Cobble is going to be an interesting map. I don't know if we've seen it, at least. I don't think we've been able to cast or fortunate enough to cast a Cobble match, have we?
No.
No. So that's going to be nice. So we could talk a lot about what this map entails.
I mean, you and I actually happened to have a conversation about how Cobblestone is a little bit different of a map in the sense that it's so limiting
awful.
On the CT. Yeah, awful. Yeah, awful's the right word. It's so limiting on the CT side, right? It's very difficult to create space and to take initiatives on the defense, and I think that that's something we really saw from EnVyUs on the CT side of Cache. I mean, I notably think of all the aggression we saw towards A main, that forward positioning inside of Squeaky Door. I don't think that's really something we might see here on Cobble, unless they tried to make their play style work when the map doesn't necessarily facilitate that.
Yeah, definitely. There are ways, as we also talked about, to regain long control, which has been a really big point of contention for a lot of players. The fact that you can run out long B, or you could have historically, and just take the site and be so close to the bomb plant zone with all 5 of your players under the cover of a giant wall the entire time.
Yep.
And now, with a good smoke and a couple of Molotovs, you can run up the stairs, which are a new addition to Cobble, regain control of that part of the map, which is such a big deal because even if your plan was to hit A, as long as the CTs know that they don't have to worry about pressure on long B, that allows them to reallocate players to the other side of the map and deal with a really, really big site. You know, usually A is played with one person, and because of the fact that you can take control as a CT, which you couldn't have until teams like Virtus Pro invented safe ways to do it, meant that there weren't many safe options for CTs who had to play A. There are standard ways to play A by yourself, but most of them involve spotting, throwing a Molotov or a smoke down, and then falling all the way back into the site and then asking for help. And it's never fun to be forced to be so timid.
Nope. You want to really assert yourself.
Exactly.
Of course, speaking of help, Godsent going to get the help of their choice, seeing as they have now won the knife round and have opted to start on the CT side. Godsent ready to go on the defensive Cobble, the choice of their opponents, and the map that could send them packing back to Sweden. Elimination on the line here as EnVyUs again have that 1-0 start to the series and the start to the T side. Double setup on utility, smokes, and quadruple flashbacks.
Yeah, indeed. And from this, and we see from the grouping that they fully intend to make this a long B hit, and they are creeping up really quickly. Lekro to take first contact, a few shots ring off. Nothing connects, however, and he actually gets punished. Not expecting a second person to be there. Doplin helps out with a frag of his own.
Yeah, up close here and drop down. It's Pitt to get the double. 2 quick headshots in rapid succession, leaves the bomb towards site, and XMS vying for some kind of a control here. He just wants to cover, and he does enough of a job for the plant to come in. Sixer gets aggressed, spots one target, and down he goes. It's Twist with a headshot, and XMS with the clutch opportunity. But there's also the man tapping bomb, and they have the kit to play off of. Pitt's got it. Pitt in smoke, on bomb, trying to just commit, and he does. XMS looking frantically for frags, will find one as a fadeaway, but that parting gift does not net him around.
Yeah, indeed. There's almost no wrong play in that situation. Him picking which side of the rectangle to peek on is just an attempt to kill at least one player, not worry so much about the bomb. Once that guy defusing is left on his own, he's pretty much got to get off because it would have been too easy to spam him. That being said, even under the cover of smoke, it seemed to be hard for him as they had planted on the top part of the statue, and he couldn't land a bullet. Now we move into the next round. This smoke it provides two things. It provides a distraction, as you can see players assuming that there is someone on the inside of the smoke, And also, if Twist does take contact by himself, it gives him a way to fall back without being chased too easily.
Yeah, he will be chased though, and successfully stops 2 players, dropping the bomb in the process, getting a bit of help from the fire of his friends.
Looking for more is Disco Doplin, walking into lower A, and is given the back of Scream. No problem here. Lappy, Happy, the last man standing. We'll look to lap up a few kills. Eagle shot comes out. Disco responds with a headshot of his own. Ends the round cleanly. Well played. And now EnVy, because they got that first plant, are able to buy up and will leave Godsent in a situation where they've got to decide whether or not they want to upgrade, considering they have 3 SMGs. Fortunately for them, 2 of those are UMPs. And I guess one redeeming quality of Cobble is the fact that you can use these short-range weapons just as effectively as an M4 in places like Drop.
Yep,
where it's never going to be a long-range fight. As long as you can DPS, that is sometimes good enough. And that, oh my gosh, wow.
RPK.
That was a definition of a tank right there. Laid down the hurt.
2 players, man. Oh man, what a start here to the 3rd round. Of course, this leaves Godsent kind of scattered. They still got Twist trying to hold on to the little control he has. Meanwhile, Happy just coming in from drop down. Now that's something he's going to do continuously throughout this T side. If you're playing EnVyUs on Cobblestone, Happy is near drop down. Point and case. Currently he's on the other side of Balk though. He's done his job. He cracked the rotation open, leaving Lekro all alone. Sure enough, Lekro is able to grab RPK, so that's something here for Godsent to play with, but obviously not the round. And 4 players still up on the French side.
Honestly, it's nice for, it would be nice for Lekro to try to recycle this, and I guess Pitt does have very little money left over, but knowing that a couple of players are extremely hurt, not necessarily hunting, but holding a little bit more aggressively for exits would probably be the right idea, I think, but either way, it's a win for him. Good recovery, though, from EnVyUs. Viciously take the A site. Yeah, they won't get too frisky.
No, everybody's going to stay alive here, so take your AK, Lekro. Take it and go into the 4th round. Op to the side of the CTs. Is there any particular way that you like to see an op being employed on the CT side of Cobble?
It's definitely wherever you're comfortable. If we have, let's see, where is Disco on this map? Looks like he's going towards lower A, so either they throw a smoke and boost over it, which is one possibility as long as there's no rush. He did spot that Asimov. He knows that's an op. So that is a fair bit of information. Oh, that wasn't actually an op. Oh, the rarer Asimov M4.
Twist to the corner, instantly removed. XMS doubling down to the skull of Lekro as well. Disco Doplin now the 1-man party over here on the A site. And I love to see this bit of composure from EnVy. You get that massive opening, you get the 5v3, but you don't just go charging into it. You don't just give it away through a mishap. Instead, you take the next logical step. Clear out drop down, employ your Molotovs, put Happy and RPK in position, and then once the 5-man split is ready to come into the A site, you really give it to Disco Doplin.
Yeah, indeed. Now, Happy knows that with 2 players dead, that our window side drop player will be the fast rotate to A if there weren't already 2 people over there, but because he got 2 kills, can feel super confident about this. And from then on, just have a teammate watch his flank in case of some crazy attempt to try to retake this piece of the map, which is something that should be on the docket for Godsent. Missed shot from Disco Doplin. And with that, triggers 4 players to push into the site. Nice trade from Happy. Great spacing on that execute. And Happy not done laying down the hurt.
Pitt's gonna find something of a parting gift. Still though, to the 1v3, bomb planted, EnVy to tie already. So this T side quite successful thus far. It's really come off the back of more A plays, and that's something that I have noted with EnVy. It's actually that I'd say the majority of their T side, they will go towards the A side. Depending on if they see an opening at B, then sometimes they'll try and exploit that, but Happy loves to just jump out that connector window and try to really section off the A site.
Saw a great split with drop control come out. Everybody on EnVyUs looking quite decisive. It seems like the game plan that they sought to follow through with out the gate has been successful, and so there's no reason to not continue. It's up to Godsent in response to figure out how to stop these attacks. Pith going to be the only one with an M4 in this round. And
nice
wow.
play.
Nice adjustment there. A couple of kills. Fantastic stuff. Oh, I had my stuff all mixed up. That's the something rain M4, right?
Bullet rain.
Bullet rain. There you go.
Do you even skin, bro?
Do I even skin? Just not as much of a sellout as you are, Stronny.
P2K is on display over here at the B site, as is the M4. Got a little cohort of counter-terrorists on long A as well. They're gonna actually get aggressive, just walk out to their deaths. XMS finds the head of Twist. Spins it around. Happy, spinning a web of bullets over towards the B sites, able to deal damage, but no further frags until Scream chimes in, and Happy does it too. One by one, they fall.
Oh my God.
And now they just get splattered to the backside. That was a hell of a jump. Sixer, he's got his Nikes on.
A kill per person on EnVyUs in that round. Really good stuff. No one dying. Tons of money left over. 5 M4s, the response buy from Godsent, and there it is, the jumping Tech 9.
Why not?
The ever feared.
Yep.
Few things scarier in life. Someone coming around the corner with a Tech 9 in a virtual game world.
Here comes Twist again towards the bottom side of A, but he doesn't have that op. It's just going to be quintupled M4s.
Twist paying close attention to what his teammates are doing in this situation, realizing that he's not going to have an immediate threat. But just as you mentioned, Stronny, EnVy looking to apply pressure to A once again.
Lekro on top of Humpty Dumpty.
This boost is really hit or miss. Can be tough. You can fall off forwards or backwards, which is the great thing about it. But from up there, yeah, you can just easily get destroyed.
Heads up peek from Happy.
Indeed. Fully aware.
As is Twist as he walks into lower. Get your gun out. Don't get caught, but he is. Scream doing what he does best. Connects the headshot and furthers the man advantage. Godsent dwindled down yet once more by 2. And now it's up to Pronax to walk into potentially his death. That's really what we've seen. First man falls to the preemptive peak of Happy. Walk in from Twist, walk in from Pronax.
Wow. And there it is, the A split once again. But this time they've done it without ever entering the site. Really good stuff.
Justifying their map pick thus far.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying. I mean, none of them set foot within eye shot of that bomb plant zone. You know, RPK getting his kill from outside drop. Players waiting at long, pushing through lower A to find their initial trades. Doplin once again, alone trying to save this AK. It doesn't seem like EnVy are going to let him live this time around.
He's got a boulder to play with, but he doesn't have a spine.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Wow, tough spot to be in. EnVy are bankrolled.
It's very true. They've got funds for days. 3 players just sitting shy or just above the 10K mark. So retirement is already in their future. EnVyUs in a very good spot momentum-wise. They're going to go back for this little boost, watch for the counter boost of Godsent. They've done this before. Not that it found them a frag, but it's at least the first step in controlling the drop down, something that we see Happy and RPK do so methodically, so successfully.
One thing we've seen, yeah. One thing we've seen is no matter what, Happy will always prod this location, even versus an eco, even though they know it is an eco, because he's found a very safe way to approach it.
Yeah, we see CTs up close though, both on drop and here on platform. Sixer needs to be extra cautious because Pronax finds the frag. RPK yet to trade, as he does still sit above. This is a 4-man stack on the B site with EnVyUs inbound. No feeling towards the A site whatsoever, so they're gonna have to commit. A wild spray down from Pronax does not net him another frag, but Disco Doplin has found one and maybe another. But no, there's Envy, at least fighting back. It is just Sixer 1v2. Twist on the AK, Lekro with his Deeg. His name has been highlighted along with that gun. Sixer now on the run, back towards the A site. And if Godsent are left scratching their heads, he could arrive before they realize what has occurred. No smoke to block off connector, so he's just gonna have to cross desperately, frantically so. But there's no pressure here. Godsent willing to go for the retake.
Indeed. Yeah, always play together 2v1 unless there are extenuating circumstances. Core tenet of good Counter-Strike for sure. Sixer coming around the back of the site knows that there will be no surprises waiting for him. Is going to try to get a better spot off of this, and is going to get punished immediately by Lekro. Both of them were a lot more prepared to take that engagement than he was expecting.
Yeah, he was hoping for maybe a 1v1 or even looked like he wanted to cross back towards long, but I think that because he was methodic in the clearing of his corners,
indeed,
he was also indicating what was up. So, little retake. Godsent able to find themselves another round. And a freebie at that. It was just pistols invested into this. But now they've invested further. Double op setup shines through.
Yeah. Now, if we look at the money, we see that there are 2 players that have enough to buy. If last round came down to a 1v1, if Sixer did find that first engagement at least, then we'd know that Godsent would be, for lack of a better word, screwed coming into this next round. And oh my gosh, I know everybody wants him to take a shot. It's actually Sixer on the other side of the smoke to capitalize, surprisingly enough. That's when the deep gulp from Godsent comes in, losing the opening man this early on in the round versus a team that has shown a lot of finesse already in these first 7 on the T side of Cobble.
XMS again playing the entry role, at least over here towards long A. Meanwhile, Godsent content to hold just 3 players on B. We're talking about, you know, initiatives that CT sides can go for. This is one of them. This deep smoke on platform, the pushing of the players, the clearing of the corners,
right,
and apparently the falling back. Not willing to rotate over just yet, but at least taking what they could.
Yeah.
Oh, but this could actually work out against them because now as Pitt reels all the way back towards A site, thinking that it's clear, we have EnVyUs creeping in.
Indeed.
And Disco gives up his angle at the worst possible time because now the T's arrive. Pronax towards the drop down has to hold the line, and he will with 1. Disco Doplin off the peak, he's able to find some frags. Flick goes astray as RPK will get 1 kill. It's Pith with an X to XMS as well. Back to the 2v2 on the B site where Sixer furthers himself and leaves it just down to Lekro. No nades, no kit, but an attempt will be made as the smoke ensures the cross. Lekro creeps in. Now, if he's able to catch 1 player off guard, suddenly he could react to the next. But he is going to get caught in the open here and now. Still lurking. If he could actually find both players and then pull the trigger, this would be huge, and he will, catching the headshot, knowing that the other man must be elsewhere. He gets on the bomb and he taps it once. He expects him to be afar. Sixer not gonna peek, but Lekro comes off, and this is the round now lost. Oh, Lekro, if only you knew.
Wow, just like that. I thought he was staying on the bomb. That would have been so perfect.
Would have been the round.
But you gotta say, I mean, Envy, hats off to them. They played that round really well, and that was a great example of conditioning. Now, obviously, you have to look at the scope of the whole half, but you see that Envy, just as you were talking about earlier, always putting pressure on A. And even in this situation, when they didn't use it, applied that same pressure, you know? It's just like on Cash, when you go to Sunroom, you break that glass open every single round, whether you're going B or not, so as not to get telegraphed. And because of that, Godsent made a bad read and worked over towards A, assuming that it was going to be that classic play that we've seen from them over and over again. Instead, They get Doplin as the dedicated man on the site, even doubting his position at long B and falling off. Abusing that. And although it was a valiant effort in defense of Godsent, it wasn't enough.
Patience is a virtue. As EnVyUs starts to group up over towards the B site, it's going to be pit tested once more. Now, at least at this point, Godsent have some utility to play with, so if you're able to just kind of scatter the offense with some flashbangs, obscure their vision with smoke, and you can get something rolling. There's the first frag from Pronax. Pit takes one, Disco as well. These 5-7s doing work and finding not only a man advantage, but guns in the hands of Godsent. Sixer crosses, Sixer plants. Sixer's got the op. Scream looks to get aggressive here, taking a forward stance. CTs filter through, and Scream's able to find a headshot already. This allows for him to now reel backwards, trying to find some safety as Disco Doplin tries to find the frag. He's got him pinned to the staircase, and Sixer over towards Coop. Disco Doplin to pick up the pace. There's the frag from Twist, though. Scream's gone down, and Godsent with another round off of only pistols.
Wow. And it is a silver lining, the fact that they are able to win these rounds off the back of pistols. I mean, it says more about Envy than anything else, who had, as you mentioned, all the utility in the world to perform that execute to perfection and make sure that there was no way for Godsent to come away with any sneaky or cheeky frags, unfortunately for them. Even with Pith, full blind, was able to take his first bullet and put it in the brain of the entry fragger on Envy, completely denying that execute.
It was a very momentous round for Godsent, because that has yet again afforded them an opportunity to buy. And it's a hard reset versus the economy for Envy. So we were talking that they had those retirement funds already invested. It's been ripped underneath them.
Looks like there won't be a house in the Hamptons for either team.
No. Here comes the push, though. Pit burning XMS to the crisp. Pronax with a headshot, and the op not finding its target just yet. Pit frantically going back and forth amongst the T's. Sixer destroys his teeth, kicks them in as Scream peeks wide, finds the man to the top side of the rock, but does not connect the shot, not yet. But the bomb's gone down. RPK to the backside, denied. Lekro able to flick and to make this possible as the health advantage furthered more. Sixer tries to just scour himself back to the side of Platt. And that's the double kit for Godsent to play off of as they're creeping their way in. No utility on either side. They need these duels. Sixer could just play this safe. Bomb's tapped once, he tries to peek out, he finds one frag and he stops. He hides, he cowers, and he tries to spray. Furthermore, Sixer has been able to do it, an anchor on that site.
That round deserving of a slow clap if ever there was one. Well played by Sixer, just delaying to perfection. Too many times do people commit without considering the time left. And in that situation, forced his opponent to have to go way too far to get that kill locked in. Extremely nice 2v1, took exactly as much time as he needed to. And look at that. Excellent stuff. You don't have to kill your opponents to win in this objective-based game.
Here comes the rapid flashes into the B site. We've got an op, we've got a mag 7. But will it be enough? As Happy's already created some space to play off of, but Twist and Pronax, they're able to respond here, and Envy do the same. Just trying to slow things down is Godsent. Twist, fully blind, still amongst the cover. XMS spots 2, and he deals with 1. There's the re-aggression from Disco Doplin, leaving only Twist now left. They know exactly where he is, so they circumvent his threat by moving the bomb towards A. And that's where XMS will catch him out. Envy to the 3-point lead, starting to restabilize themselves here to the T side of Cobble.
Yeah, very precise shooting, 4 on the board for XMS. Huge play to hold down the site. Obviously denying even the save of the op, which is a huge victory from EnVyUs, on top of just simply winning the round. Godsent have nothing here, have decided to invest in not a single flashbang or decoy even.
They have a P250.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Big plays.
Pith treating himself.
Little self-love goes a long way, Launders.
True.
Happy, just milking the cash cow. Clean sweep from the Frenchman of Envy. Not a single loss in that one, barring a little bit of utility.
Full buying down to 0. Good of them to call not to spend too much money. Pith with a little bit of extra who invested is going to have a UMP, but then also a kit, the only one in any of the hands of Godsent. Back to A, it seems. 4 players in the bomb. Pushing into lower A, fast clearing everything. No one to deal with upper A, and Lekro can fall back to it. This can be a problem.
Yeah, he's frantic at this point. Assistance has been made, though. Twist with 1 headshot is dropped to the AK of Scream. EnVyUs unable to cross the bomb, but RPK crucially finds that flank. Pronax had been able to get himself behind enemy lines, but he is still faltered. He fumbled, he fell. Disco Doppelin with a bit of a bailout here. Could still double back towards the B site. That's where the bomb's gonna go down.
Oof, critical issue. They know they have to deal with their flank, and they've got to push into B if they want to recover this round. Scream, careful shooting, headshot onto Pith, eliminating him. And yeah, Disco with a round that was a little bit too big for his boots on such low HP. Envy put another one in, and that was those are some great supporting flashes. Even though Godsent had the ability to hold on to long with no one to try to challenge them, those flashes over the wall, all those players running up the ramp made Godsent feel like with the support that they had, that they should have taken those fights, but got completely punished for it. Excellent stuff, and even on those chaotic fast splits or fast takes, having those on-the-run flashes are just as much lineups as the standing ones that you do from safety. And making sure they are effective can be the difference between a win and a loss.
Again, we see Godsent just try to apply a bit of further aggression towards lower A. I mean, this has just been EnVyUs' bread and butter. They're gonna go back to it yet once more. Not necessarily going for that split, though, as Happy lingers towards the bottom side, and everyone else forces their way on long.
It's great to see the tempo being kept up in this moment. Grouping, just pushing their will completely onto him.
Yeah, making very quick work of these pistol arrows, but Disco Doplin's M4 chimes in with something, and Pitt is able to grab not just the kill, but an AK to boot. And then he's booted to the wayside. Twist, all that remains here in a 1v3 with the Deeg. He finds nothing other than Happy, who is very content to take double digits to the favor of Envy and leave this one at the potential 11-4. But Godsent invest for the final round of this half.
Dangerous scoreline indeed. Again, money is no factor in this round. Everybody's got what they need. A couple of players lacking head armor, but that shouldn't be a deal breaker in this round. There's almost no reason why that should matter. And also have 2 ops. Quite viable on Cobble. Another giant map, meaning that rotation is incredibly important. And giving your rifles the freedom to move from site to site. Sometimes only justified when you have these big green guns.
The old cannons. Twist looking to utilize his. Scream about to walk into his death.
Searching for pixels here. Oh, and just as he turns.
Every time.
Every time, indeed. Without fail.
Now this haystack has been played before. We'll see if they read into it.
They haven't mollied it, however, and Twist with the op shot might send players right past them. But it looks like they've actually retreated instantly. That information will be shared, and it's back to B, except they haven't successfully cleared out A. That being said, there are still 3 people over here.
Yeah, if EnVyUs are able to just topple the defense by storm, then the bomb site should fall in suit. Pronax hears this, though. He's gonna go for the pop flash, tries to take the fight, but RPK is able to best him. So Disco Doppler needs to lock things down. He's able to grab one, but now it's up to Pit. He rotates in, finds the man Flash, but then he finds himself killed. Traded back by Twist yet once more. Bomb in the open, Lekro on the flank, but Scream flicks back and takes him down. So Twist, 10 seconds to watch this bomb. And instead he starts to walk in to the demise of him. Scream with headshots on point. Vintage stuff.
Yeah, beast mode engaged. Absolutely no problem. What a fantastic half. Pure dominance. Sheer aggression and will from EnVyUs. Putting Godsent constantly in uncomfortable positions. Oh my god. Lekro removed from the server like a fart in the wind.
Was that you? I thought I smelled something.
Headshot machine.
Man, just the one tap to close things off. Makes it look easy, doesn't it?
Yeah. All you got to do is look at them and click on them, right? I'm inspired to play Counter-Strike.
Yeah, yeah. No, but I mean, you can see the energy here from EnVyUs. They're feeling it. Yeah. They know that they've been able to get themselves one step closer, at least with the opening half. You never want to see them falter, fumble, or fall. You never want to sleep on Godsent either. They definitely have the individual level to play this. I think it's just the fact that they're no longer on their comfort zone.
Definitely.
Cash was their map to take, and EnVyUs fought valiantly for it.
At best, they get a third map.
Yep. Best case Ontario. Got a lot of utility here for Envy to the defense. Kit flashbangs and a smoke, and RPK already
oh my God.
Just ripping heads clean off their shoulders. Sure enough, Twist is able to swing it with a frag of his own, but that's still Envy with the numbers game in their favor. Sixer sent cartwheeling back to through long.
Clotheslined on his way home. RPK had no right to get those frags. I'd just like to point that out. Holding W, flicking left and right. Unbelievable.
You mean that's not supposed to work?
No, it's not.
I want to be able to say that Godsent walk away with this, but Scream's going to be on the alert.
Yeah, this is a tough one. XMS is a kit, which is a big deal. Molotov might prove to be very effective. I mean, XMS is going to move into basically the best spot that he can think of, and that looks like default. It's very common to Molly. Smoke as well, so they can take they focus their attention on just this point of the map. Rotate comes in. It's going to be a big flank on low HP. Huge work for XMS to do.
See if he can hold it. Scott players coming in. Pronax immediately removes him from the situation. So Scream with as many targets in front of him as he has health on his bar. And that's it. She's done. Pronax clears the flank. Godsent win the pistol. And they start off this half with at least a fighting chance.
Yeah, suddenly a competitive match in the second half, as we've seen time and time again. And here it is, holding W, flick. Good stuff, headshots. And this was pretty nuts. Like, oh, woo. Didn't even think Lekro's that far out.
Just eats dirt.
Yeah.
A scout for Disco Doppler. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I think the only justifiable position would be to play platform after plant, because I think that's a very strong spot. Or over towards A, just... Oh, actually, he's in Rapunzel.
Oh, okay.
Meta.
Meta AF. It does make sense. Spot the entirety of A, pretty safe, pretty safe. And typically, I mean, there are, just as you said, very few options for a scout on T side, especially on an anti-eco. But this way, Godsent have a way of making sure he stays safe and focusing all their attention on B to eventually try to creep their way into.
Godsent start trickling towards the B site, and as they filter through, they pick up RPK. Still the two-man advantage, not to mention guns, but Scream is up close with the CZ, frantically searching for a frag. Happy able to clear one out, but then he's cleared from the corner himself. He's able to take 2 kills with him, so some damage dealt, but that's still Godsent on 6.
Quite interesting. We see the they have similar approaches to their anti-ecos, except we saw in the first half, obviously, Godsent getting away with a hold with just pistols on the B site, even though EnVy kind of had free reign in terms of being able to set up and execute. So, stark difference. I think one thing that Godsent did better was their spacing was better. When one person came out, there was 3 men right behind him, ensuring the trade. Oh, oof. A lot of nades going on at the top of the drop.
Almost as many grenades as there are bullets being scattered downrange thanks to Twist's MAC-10. Here comes the players trickling forward. That's going to be Twist actually dropped and the MAC-10 retrieved. Now the counter boost trying to really throw a wrench in the works of Godsent's offense.
Whole team trying to get in on this action, and he has to jump at the same time. No, you can't triple boost.
There we go. 17th time's the charm. Lekro, meanwhile, just buying more time on site. Now the bomb's been able to cross. I mean, if they're actually able to get that rolling a little quicker, maybe they catch the backside of the caboose, but Godsent get the train into the station and the bomb into the site. And now they're just gonna flex their might. Disco with that scout.
Here it is, the standoff. And it looks like nothing but shying away for the CTs. It's going to be in the best interest of Godsent to try to exit through long B, but because of this reverse boost, there might be a little bit more action before this round is over. Happy's found a pretty cute angle here. Won't be good enough. Would have been better off holding that just a little bit wider, but Disco was completely aware of this potential threat. And I think they cure Sixer here, fortunately. He is not being able to get a kill. And all the CTs eviscerated.
Pistol round, conversion rounds. And then an immediate timeout from Godsent. So I appreciate this. They get themselves to the gun round, and just to make sure that everybody's focused, everybody's centered.
Yeah.
They take this opportunity to talk things over. Sure enough, it gives EnVy an opportunity to do the same, but concern yourself more with your own gameplay than your opponent's.
Yeah, it's potential they didn't have anything sorted. Maybe there was a last second dispute about what was called, and they said, okay, let's talk this out, because there's obviously a lot of great minds on the team, and you know, any great IGL is going to be open to input as well.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Indeed. Time and time again, this rings true. Shout out to Gambit.
Yeah.
We won't have more than 5 rifle buy, it looks like, as Screamer RPA don't have enough money to op without armor. But it's something they can think about. They haven't decided to buy just yet. It's hard to tell what Godsent could be thinking that might be non-standard as an approach to this round.
And they've got that op to play with, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that they might position that in a passive setup similarly to what Disco was doing with the Scout? Or do you think that they should be trying to play Twist on the front side, maybe try to pluck a man off B site with it?
Twist has no kind of spawn at the moment, so, I mean, if he's facing the way that he wants to go, maybe it's just to hold A while forego B, similar to how they had Disco up in Rapunzel, overseeing any action from people pushing out of the choke points at A so that they can't get flanked.
Mestioso.
It's a tiring job.
See, seeing as he was an admin and now he's a coach, he's useful in both technical and tactical timeouts.
He sat in that chair in 2 different capacities.
Wow.
Not many esportsmen can say that.
Nope. Esportsman.
Esportsmen.
A select breed. So here we go, round 19. It's upon us. It is live, and Sixer is over towards long A. All alone, EnVyUs instead putting their players over on this B site where XMS is able to catch the head of Pronax. He's sent packing, and Godsent sent back towards A.
Big frag indeed to have, especially with so much time left on the clock. The Sixer is actually still playing this very close up. Is maybe only going to be offered up 1 kill. Lekro with such a nice peek, is able to trade that out. I'm surprised that Sixer doesn't fall back in that situation, especially without support, though it seemed like his teammate may have gotten smoked off at a time where he couldn't retreat, and so maybe they were hoping to make it a 5-on-3 or just a 4-on-2 as quickly as possible. Instead, Godsent will be offered up long. Smokes will cascade over the site, or just a single one into the door. And this won't provide much of a tell for anybody, because it doesn't seem like they've decided what they want to do just yet.
I think EnVyUs have a really nice retake on this A-bomb site. You'll see how quickly they come in from connector. Keep your eyes on it. When Happy decides to come over, when he's called for reinforcements, he'll just come charging through, but Twist instead charges Scream down, despite 4 HP. Just found himself the frag. Now RPK to the backside of Cannons. Committed to his corner. Happy spots the shadow, and again, it's damage dealt, but no frag found till RPK pulls the trigger, sees the next, and drops him.
Wow.
EnVyUs, again, just finding further success and keeping Godsent back.
What were you saying about the rotates in?
Yeah, so there's these moments where maybe in this case they don't go for it because they lose the man on long A. But if you will see EnVyUs really kind of anchor players to the back of the bomb side, I think XMS will do it, where he just sits all the way back inside of A. And when they kernel up on the site like that, what happens is Godsent gets so much real estate for free. They come up ramp, they come in from long. And so amongst the connector smokes, there's really good flashbangs that EnVyUs have on their connector retake, and they'll generally try to set a faster pace. Like Happy will just flash himself right through, charge out and take those fights amongst the chaos. Then the players on bomb site chime in by putting themselves in an elevated spot. But it's XMS to elevate Envy in this round with a 2K advantage. Scream finding further, and Happy now to the tree side gets himself the headshot. So Lekro is all that remains. It's all that stays standing, and not for very long. It's Envy to 13, and Godsent sits stagnate on 7.
Yeah. Stalwart Behold, absolutely no chance to get in. B is closed for the moment, and Envy are getting to those critical rounds, and again, have the opportunity to close this out 2-0. Godsent on a save. Envy looking like they're about to take 14th, no problem. And yeah, just as you were saying, I mean, the other benefit to having players on the farthest spots to get into allows for your rotating players to have room to move into the site and play every other spot available. Counter boost comes in immediately. This could be either a quick way to steal this up or the best way to lose this round quickly. We'll soon find out.
EnVyUs really emphasizes this boost. I mean, think about the amount of times they try to keep it in check on their T side. They boost up, they spot. That's what they always do in the opening 10 seconds. And the reason they do it is because they know the power of boosting players up when you're on the other side. Happy in a prime position to just slay some terrorists here and now. Damage has been dealt. Swaps to the USP, and he furthers himself with another frag. But that M4 is retrieved to the hands of Lekro. And it's at least a silver lining for Godsent to play off of. But Sixer, with further success, finds himself some frags, and RPK just slays what remains of Godsent.
It's a really interesting point about game theory that you just brought up, and that's knowing kind of both sides of the spot that you play. Knowing what works best against you and what wouldn't work against you, and how to use that against them. It's kind of like in a fighting game, for example, if you main a character, being able to use a character that you're weakest against, right? It's a surefire way to learn more about yourself.
Being self-critical is very important.
Indeed.
See if EnVyUs can secure OT. Sixer's gonna play along over here on A. Here comes all these grenades. See, RPK tries to get out, but that costs him. Twist, spraying him down. At least Happy on that fast flank, yet again, because of the boost, through the drop down. He's able to now put the flank in question. You can see how Godsent over towards that bomb are keeping their eyes behind them, but he's gone for the long con all the way to the base of Rapunzel as Pronax gets into the cubby.
Opting not to make any noise. He is definitely infiltrated in this moment. I think Lekro tried to bait out a shot just by showing his AK, but quickly turns expecting to have to take that fight. Scream though, strafing, and he seems very confident about taking these fights. Another headshot comes out for him, and even though Pronax had such an advantageous spot, is now kind of stuck in it.
Yeah.
Cursed by it, but finds a headshot in spite of that.
Now it's up to Scream, who gets himself the dink, swaps to the sidearm, tries to pepper the man, but there's also the flank. He needs to get one of these frags, and he does. Good jump over the wall, the hardcore parkour. Disco Doppler to the top side, though. He finds one and taps towards Happy. Gonna plant this bomb. Low health per side. Smoke on Happy. He's already got himself towards the APC. Disco Dole almost gives it up.
He did make noise right there.
Exactly.
And
it costs him. Happy gets his number. Happy gets the kill. And that's Envy to sit on 15.
That really was a game of positioning, and I think Disco showing his hand there might have been a mistake, but at the same time, you are limited on the site. Happy had cut off the only way that he could have gotten out of the site silently.
Yep.
Therefore, put a lot of pressure on Disco, not knowing exactly what he was thinking. Very smart stuff. Match point has been taken, and this might be it. This might be the last round of the game, the last round of the series. Godsent backs against the wall, very low on economy, not going to have much utility to work with, and 8 rounds to come back from. Buying down to 0.
They're face to face with elimination here in the last decider of DreamHack Atlanta. Happy swinging out to the bottom side of A, will offer himself up.
It's kind of interesting to go for that play. I think they obviously just wanted to continue the aggression, keep up the tempo, and I think one thing that happens when a team is so aggressive on the T side, they move into the CT side, they want to keep up that momentum. The problem is there aren't that many options on Cobble. As you can see, they had to get really creative with that one. That flash was something they had to practice. That's not that easy to throw. And even Happy coming out there, he's peeking into 50, 60 angles that players could be into. So really throwing a Hail Mary with that one, almost coming away with a frag as well, but not doing it at the end of the day. And the only reason I think you would want to avoid something like that is because there was a stark utility advantage that EnVy have that they could have they could have rid off of, that they kind of throw away with just a reckless push.
See if that recklessness hinders them in the 23rd round, or if they win it out regardless. Godsent still ambiguous in their commitment. Flashbang dodged, flick shot found. Lekro sprays XMS. 5v3. Godsent just gear up for the A take, but look at this. EnVyUs getting into position as Sixer finds one frag. Flick shot near connects. Maybe damage dealt. Sixer still up close. He's gonna feel this threat, but he's got an assist and a collateral with Scream chiming in. It's not gonna stop them. Godsent have been eliminated from DreamHack Atlanta. EnVyUs will make it to the semifinals and will attempt their run to the finals itself. 2-0 the win. A convincing victory here on Cobble. Their choice, 16-7. What a play from Sixer. Uses the verticality of the rooftop and then lines up those 2 frags.
Came into DreamHack Atlanta not expecting to know who would take the W, who would win the whole thing. And I think this is the first time I feel confident saying I feel like EnVy are clearly the favorites at this moment.
I think they've definitely put themselves as a front runner.
Yeah.
Convincing form, not just in the sense that, of course, they have that close scoreline on Cash, but it's not the close scoreline, it's the resilience in it.
Yeah.
The fact that they can make that comeback, hold it off in OT, and really assert themselves. A display of experience that we've come to expect with the names on that lineup.
For the first time, we see a map that they dominate in the first half and then just continue on in the second.
Yeah.
Don't take any time to learn how to win a round and immediately shut down all the pressure. Just 7 rounds for Godsent.
Beautiful stuff. I mean, again, it was Cobblestone that I thought was definitely going to go the way of EnVy. If we saw any kind of a success from Godsent, it had to be on Cash.
Yeah.
And I mean, we did see success. We saw a lot of promise, actually, a lot of great plays, but it was in the nitty-gritty that they end up losing that one. So, we're going to hand this one off. We're done here. Launders and Scrawny out. Take it away.
Thank you guys very much for that cast, and congratulations, Scream. With this win, EnVy is now back-to-back semifinals. You guys made the top 4 in Valencia, and now once again here in Atlanta. And especially in an era where Happy said himself, where EnVy's kind of in this place where it's sort of inconsistent lately, this back-to-back result must mean even more.
I didn't understand. It's too much noise here. Yeah, I mean, it feels good to be in semifinals again because we did in Valencia and we lost to NIP. I think we just want to do better than we did in Valencia and at least reach the final and like win the event if possible.
And this was a 2-0, but I want to talk about Cash because it was an interesting game. Godsent won 11 rounds in a row, which was kind of crazy. So tell us what happened there, and how are you guys able to come back and win at the end?
Yeah, Cash was their map. We knew they were playing really good on it. We played some practice against them, even though they have a stand-in. They know how to play the map, and we had difficulties to play against them. But I don't know what happened. We played good at CT. I think we got like 7 rounds. I don't know, and it was difficult to finish the game. But I don't know. I think we stayed calm and we figure out how they play and try to beat them.
And when I talked to Happy earlier, he was mentioning that he felt that your EnVy's biggest weakness at the moment is mentality and how you guys handle rounds when you lose. From your perspective, what do you feel like are the weaknesses that EnVy really needs to work on right now?
Yeah, I think it's the same that what he said. I think we need to step up individually as players and be stronger mentally and fight all together as a team and not split up and have the good mentality to beat everyone.
Now tomorrow you're going to be playing against Renegades, Australian team. You've never played against them before, and they've had a really solid day one yesterday, taking out Misfits and Hellraisers. So if you watched their games, what did you think about them?
Yeah, I know Renegades are playing really good. I thought they were going to reach the final when I came here, but now I guess we have to stop them and we need to reach the final. But it's gonna be a hard game. We don't know how they play. We're just gonna check the games and some demos to see how they play and adapt and come tomorrow and try to beat them.
All right, congratulations again, Scream, and best of luck tomorrow. And with that, EnVyUs will be eliminating Godsent and moving on to the semifinal.
Indeed, we do say goodbye to Godsent, but EnVyUs go through to the semi-finals. They're our last semi-final team. They go on to play Renegades, I believe, tomorrow, which is going to be a great game, great matchup. Yeah, let's go back and talk about Cash a little bit briefly. I feel like maybe that was Godsent's map to lose there, really. They, as Smix just said, 11 rounds in a row. Looked like they were running away with it. What happened?
I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. I think Scream even have difficulties understanding what was going on because for quite some time I was looking at it was going to be a stomp in favor of Godsent, which we definitely didn't expect to see. I guess Cash is a map that you can definitely pug out, and they didn't do anything necessarily too advanced with their strategies, but they were just hitting crazy shots. Again, we saw Disco Doppler and Twist delivering at a very, very high level. But the turnaround for me, probably the fact that we saw Sixer and RPK come more alive into the game as well. Like that definitely had to change for it. So you see, like every time they got into like a 3v3 situation where they finally are able to execute on towards the bomb site, even after trading picks, initially setting up for their defaults, like one of those two players would always come through in the clutch and actually help them out close out the map.
Yeah, you say they came to life in-game, but also we saw Sixer kind of coming to life in the booth as well. Like he had a lot of passion there. It was incredible. Nice scores across the board though as well from EnVy. Like RPK,
I'm loving that,
showing up, but like actually across the board, all of them really evenly
spread out,
showing up. Yeah,
I think Godsent was so good on Cash too because of how many options the CT side of Cash gives you. You can literally do B pushes successfully, and I think you saw Twist pushing with an op, and he was able to grab picks going with B. At middle, they boosted over Pronax twice over the mid. They boosted on Shroud at A. They pushed into A main. So there's so many options for them to, even if they're not trying to play like a really strategic team, yeah, like Cash gives you so many options, and you can see that Godsent was using literally all of them. And I think EnVyUs came back from just grinding. They were just, using their default, taking it slow, seeing what their default came up with, and then just regrouping and just trade killing into the bomb sites, and Godsent couldn't handle it.
Yeah. How do we feel about Pronax? We talked about him just before. He was playing very aggressive there at points. He was, especially on Cash, he was getting some frags, and we were like, whoa, okay. Yeah, Pronax maybe heard us and was like trying to show us, showing business.
Yeah, no, I mean, he was playing aggressive and trying to assert himself in the game, but didn't necessarily have the same kind of impact you'd like to see, right? Because he got into positions multiple times where you actually would expect him to come away with maybe 1 or 2 kills at a time, especially one of the boosts, for instance. Yeah, like granted, he has an MP9 versus armor, which is never necessarily like a very good way or a good recipe for success. But you would expect him in those kind of situations to at least come away with 1 frag. and not just information of what's about to happen, which, to be fair, is also valuable. But when you have the opportunity coming from behind, you should be able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, and EnVyUs looking mostly strong on Cobble there, especially in the last few rounds. They just looked unbeatable, really. They were hitting every shot.
Yeah, no, and it's more of the same story from what we saw of them versus Energy, really. They just have a very good grasp of how to play Cobble. You can see that they're very set in the race as to how they want to play T-side, for instance. You saw Happy pretty much take control of her drop room whenever he felt like it. They just had a very systematic way of approaching it, and it's extremely hard. Like, just missing that one guy in your team, like when you're playing CT side Cobbled, can mess up every rotation you have completely, and that's such a massive deal on a map like Cobbled. And again, we talked about it with utility heavy maps like Inferno, for instance. If your economy goes against you as well, then it's just it's a real uphill struggle from there on out.
So now Godsent, we say goodbye to them. What can they learn from this? I know that they're not their full 5 that we know coming into this weekend. Do we think that that's something we might see more of, this 5? And do we think the sort of the in-game leader experiment that they've seemed to have done this weekend, do we think they'll carry on with that? What do we think we're going to see from Godsent here on out?
I mean,
yeah,
it's hard to tell, right?
Like, it's really hard to tell if this is actually a permanent move. I don't know what the Schneider, like, why did they say why he couldn't come, or just why Pit was standing
had booked a summer vacation or something like that in advance.
So I mean, this roster looks okay. I mean, I still would like Pronax to be the IGL if they continue to go, because I think he needs to have the impact that way. I don't think he's going to come back and be like a super all-star fragging wise. So, and maybe they're doing the thing I talked about earlier in yesterday when they were first playing, was when I said give Pronax some room to try to individually get back up there and just let him try to frag for a bit and let everyone else do the hard work of looking at demos, looking over strategies, new setups, new pistols. Just give him some time to flourish again, and then put him back in the IGL once he's kind of boosted himself back up. But that's the only way I see him in the team. It was really nice to see Disco Doppelin and Twist go off. I think those guys are really, really talented, and it was nice to see their performances here.
Yeah, it did sound like from the interviews earlier that the in-game leader swap was probably a temporary thing.
Yeah,
I guess we'll find out. Like it, yeah. We'll find out. So yeah, that's day 2.
It is.
Let's have a look at the brackets as they stand. We are now down to 4 teams left. We have Heroic and Hellraisers on one side of the bracket, and we have Renegades and EnVyUs on the other side. Both of these games are probably shaping up to be very close. I'm really excited to see Renegades play again, especially against this EnVyUs side, who
they hadn't met up each other before, right?
Sorry,
they haven't actually met each other before. I think that was something Sue was talking about, right?
Yeah, no, they haven't.
So it's a completely fresh one. You don't oftentimes get that actually in CS at this point in time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm really excited to see EnVyUs duke it out with Renegades.
Yeah, what are you looking forward to, Eric, out of those two?
Yeah, I'm interested to see if Renegades can keep that form. I know they only played Mirage yesterday, so it was kind of like big on Inferno, where they just got their same map every time, and you just say they looked pretty good on it.
Yeah.
I want to see their full map pool, and they look pretty strong. Like I said, I think Renegades has a ton of talent. It's just how they're going to utilize it.
Cool. Any final thoughts before we wrap up on today's action and some of the teams that we've maybe had to say goodbye to today?
I mean, there's been ups and downs, hits and misses in that sense. I think, for Misfits, again, it's very clear they need to work on their T sides. For Godsent, they need to work out what their lineup is. That's always a good start. And outside of that, it kind of just panned out as we would have expected. Some delivering in more, I guess, convincing fashion than others. But, in the end, you still end up in the semifinals.
Yeah. Any final thoughts from you?
No NA teams. Feels bad.
Feels bad, man.
Feels bad, man. Well, we are done with day number 2. Thank you very much, firstly, for all of your input, and I will see you both in the morning. I can't wait. It's going to be a great day. 2 semi-finals and a grand final coming up tomorrow. First, I want to remind you all that in around 2 months, I think it's 1.5 months, we have DreamHack Malmo Masters coming up. If you are interested in watching esports in an arena where everything is lit up and it's electrifying and all of the above, if you've seen it on Twitch and you want to take part in it, you can have a look at the bottom of the screen there, go to the DreamHack website and find out how you can buy tickets to go and see the DreamHack Masters in Malmo. We are done with day 2. Our semi-finals and grand finals are coming up tomorrow morning. First off, though, I'd like to thank our sponsors who are allowing us to do this and make all of this possible. ASTRO, Monster Energy, Zowie, Corsair, and Intel. Thank you, all of you, for making this possible. Thank you, both of you, for joining me on the desk, and thank you all at home for joining us over this long day of best of threes. We have a lot of action coming up tomorrow, so definitely come back, and it'll be great. See you then.